It's got to be real.
Yes, guys, what's going on? So make sure you subscribe to the platform, YouTube, Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to the Facebook as well, all on Be Real TV. Okay, so just search Be Real TV and it'll come straight up. So this fight, I thought Canelo Alvarez did a very clinical job on Daniel Jacobs. I thought he started the fight off. The first round I had Canelo losing, but then he bagged for me about 5 rounds in a row. And then I think in the latter half of the fight, I thought Daniel Jacobs started bagging some rounds on work rate, and more due to Canelo not being Canelo Alvarez, and doing his his thing. And I don't think Canelo performed very well in the second half of that fight. But then I think in the last 2 rounds, I think Canelo bagged another 2. And for me, I scored it Canelo Alvarez 8 rounds, Daniel Jacobs 4 rounds, and I had Canelo Alvarez winning that fight. I think he was a stronger fighter. I think he was a fighter with a better defense. He was a fighter with a better ring generalship. I think he controlled the pace in the fight. And I think overall he was he's the guy with most of the belts. He's the superstar. Daniel Jacobs had to come in and do a clinical job on Canelo, which I do not think he did. Okay, I had it's similar to what the judges had it. I had Canelo winning by 2 rounds. Now it's very rare that you see Canelo win a unanimous decision where he wins 11 rounds out of 12. That doesn't really happen with Canelo. He's a burst fighter, so he wins certain rounds very well. And I think that's what he did against Daniel Jacobs. I think the rounds he won in the early half of the fight, I think he bagged them very clean. I thought he took 5 rounds very clean. And maybe one of them you could give to Daniel Jacobs. But apart from that, he won 4 to 5 rounds clean. And I definitely think, for me, he scored he scored a couple of extra rounds in the latter half of the fight. I thought the rounds 11 and 12 he gave to Canelo, I thought he did a clinical job of pulling the fight off, and close on the points, but not necessarily a close fight. Let's just say it that way. As far as Carl Froch goes, with his draw, I think it's an absolutely disgusting scorecard, and I think Carl Froch should be taken off Sky Sports. I think that Carl Froch is a biased commentator. I think these are the early signs that Sky Sports need to change this sort of stuff, because HBO did this where they had biased commentators who have certain agendas, and they just talk rubbish. And I think that is exactly what Carl Froch is, and I think he should be taken out of Sky Sports punditry. I do not think he's a good pundit for Sky Sports at all. I thought Dave Caldwell was talking a lot of sense, and I'm really happy with the way their commentary went. Sorry, the way Dave Caldwell's commentary went, not Carl Froch's, and obviously you got Adam Smith, who's a legend. But as far as Carl Froch, I don't know what he was talking about with his draw scorecard and his talking about CompuBox, because we all know in professional boxing, CompuBox doesn't mean anything, because you've got to take into account defense, ring generalship. You've got to take into account the effectiveness of the punch. So Carl Froch really does talk a lot of rubbish, and I think he should be taken off. Now, moving on from that, let's just get into the fight a little bit more. I thought Daniel Jacobs should have stayed in the pocket. I think he should have known that he's in against a fighter who's the cash cow and the superstar and the pound for pound fighter. And whilst we're talking about pound for pound, I think Canelo deserves to be ahead of Terence Crawford and deserves to be ahead of Lomachenko. We're going to talk a bit about the Triple G situation in a second, but let's just get back onto the fight, stay on the topic. Daniel Jacobs should have done more. I thought he boxed too much. I thought there was times he needed to exchange. He did not. I think that he did well in certain spots, but he could have been more fluid and done a lot more in the early rounds rather than giving them rounds away. Now, let's move on onto the big topic. So Daniel Jacobs, I think that he was about 85% of the fighter that Triple G faced. Okay, so I'm going to give Triple G props. I think that Triple G faced a much better Daniel Jacobs. Not much better, but about 15% better Daniel Jacobs. But that's what makes a difference, right, in a fight. And I think that Daniel Jacobs has aged a bit. And I thought Triple G fought a better Daniel Jacobs. And Triple G got that win. The judges scored it for Triple G, which I'm happy with that, So this is the thing now. Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, Saul Canelo Alvarez, their names are joined together. Now, here's what the situation is, okay? So Triple G has no belts, okay? Demetrius Andrade's got the other belt. Triple G's left Abel Sanchez. Abel Sanchez is claiming that it was for money. So for me, I think it's a situation where Triple G's got with Jonathan Banks. I think it's a very... I don't agree with that move. I think it was a money-based move, and Jonathan Banks probably took a low ball offer from Triple G, and that's why he got Triple G as a fighter. And I don't think that's good. I think Triple G now is at the point of where he's kind of hunting maybe for, you know, I don't know if he's, I'm not going to say paycheck, but, you know, I don't know if he has that same hunger that he once did for undisputed titles and, you know, to reign over 160. I think Canelo is that guy. And I think that what needs to happen, I think Triple G, has done very well for quite some time. And I think what he needs to do is he needs to fight this tune-up. And I think he deserves a shot at Demetrius Andrade. I think DAZN should give it to Triple G. I think Canelo should take a stay busy fight in the meanwhile. And then what needs to happen as soon as Triple G has faced this tune-up fight for him, I think he needs to jump in there with Demetrius. I think he deserves a shot at a title. I think he's earned it in 160. He's done a lot of 160. I think he deserves that shot. I think he takes that shot against Demetrius Andrade. And then he needs to go in there. Third fight, where we see an undisputed fight. I think the undisputed fight needs to be Canelo Triple G 3. I really do feel that. I think that's what needs to happen. Unless Demetrius Andrade does the job on Triple G. But let me know what you guys think. For me, I had Canelo winning that second fight. The first fight was controversial, let's just say, but I had Canelo definitely winning the second fight, and I think in the third fight, Canelo does a better job on Gennady Golovkin. I've got to be honest with you. I think he's a more seasoned fighter. I think he's going to learn from this fight, and I think that Triple G is no longer the same fighter he once was. I'm not convinced Triple G can even get past Demetrius Andrade, although I think he will, but I'm just saying I'm not convinced that it's a very obvious thing that he definitely gets past him. That's a hard fight for Triple G, very hard fight. And Demetrius Andrade would be a very hard fight for Canelo as well. But either way, leave your comments in the section below. Subscribe. Canelo Alvarez on paper, let me just tell you this. He has faced Mayweather in his early 20s. He's faced Erislandy Lara, who's a very stylistically hard matchup. He's gone and ruled 154. He was and he's now come to 160 and he's dominated 160. Okay, he's unifying belts. He's aiming to be undisputed at 160 pounds. He's gone up a weight class and won titles. You know, he is that guy in boxing. He really is. And if he gets undisputed on 160, the fighters he's beaten, I rate Canelo very highly. I rate him as number one. But that's me. People, he lost against Triple G, got robbed, and Triple G got robbed, etc., etc. I just kind of disagree, and I think that you can't always have it your way, where you always, you know, your opinion is gold. No, no, no. You have to understand the majority of people scored it for Canelo, and definitely, the judges scored it for Canelo. So you got to go with that, and he was the aggressor in the fight. So give the guy his props. Okay, give him the benefit of the doubt. He is a good fighter, and he's definitely the A side in boxing to anybody. So comments in the section below. Make sure you subscribe to all the platforms. Let me know what you guys think in a bit.